Welcome, this is Tara C. Allred, and I am here doing a live interview with the author of 97, The Warlock's Pack in the Rise of the Battle Breed series. Welcome, Alexar. Glad to see you've joined. Looks like we have a few others who have joined us. Welcome, TM Shine. Great to see you here. I am really looking forward to share with you a friend of mine. We became friends through the social media world, and also the first time I met her was when she was a guest on my writing group, The Other Side of Quiet, and she has some fabulous feedback for aspiring authors. In fact, maybe we'll pull it up later and share with you some of the great things she provided. But she is here with us today, and I've asked her, I know she's actively working on some rewrites on some of her current manuscripts, and so since those of you who have been part of our short story challenge are at an exciting... I've asked her, I know she's actually working on. Let me go ahead and we're going to see it. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So I'm going to introduce you to VL Holt, and she is going to share with us her process when she receives feedback from her beta readers. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you for having me. This is an honor.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Probably first and foremost, I am a mom of 6 kids, so it makes me a little crazy, but that's why I write, is to escape some of the mayhem.
And I have read 2 of your novels, 97, and it's one of my favorites. I just love it. Do you want to share a little bit about your genre, what you write in, a little bit about the Rise of the Battle Breed?
Sure. In 2013, the end of 2012, I was reading a ton of books, and particularly in the young adult paranormal genre, which I had stayed away from for a really long time, just because I was into different genres. So I started reading a ton of young adult paranormal, and also started dabbling in a lot of the indie authors that had come out around that time. And I was equally impressed and also disappointed in some of the indies that I read. Some really needed a lot of editing, and others were really fantastic. And I got the idea that maybe I could do this. Maybe I could write a book. Backstory, I have been creative writing for years and years and years. Had written a couple of historical romance novels, but they never went beyond my own printer. So then I was reading an action-adventure novel, actually one of the books in Tara Jansen's Steel Street series, which I really love. And I started getting this germ of an idea, and it just started growing and growing, and I was talking to my husband about it one night, and then the ideas just came with a lot of force. What if there was this race of warriors, and they had 99 lives, and who would create, are they aliens or are they created? And it just, all of these ideas started tumbling and following one another, and just within a couple of weeks I had started writing 97.
Thank you. Well, I should tell you that we're getting lots of great hearts and lots of feedback, and everyone is enjoying your comments. And I never really do this. I'm pretty bad about this, but for those of you who have joined, if you want to share where you're from so that Victoria gets a sense of where people are watching, and we have a comment that you're amazing, and you are. And TM Shine, DMV, I looked it up. Where is that? I'm so sorry that shows how limited I am in my geography. But, we've got someone from Melbourne. Alexar's from Melbourne. We have someone from DMV, and I'm ashamed to say I don't know where that is anyway, so, we've got hearts that keep coming in, and I don't want to slow down the broadcast, but I do need to ask, Maryland, Virginia, of course, now I'm even more embarrassed. DC, Maryland area, do you feel comfortable sharing where you're from, Victoria?
Sure, I'm about 45 minutes away from Lake Michigan, so in the corner of Indiana, northern Indiana. I'm a Hoosier.
And you should be delighted. Alexar is joining us, and it's 4 a.m. in Australia. So how's that? What a trooper. Thanks, Alexar, for joining us live.
God bless you.
Now, and I should have asked you this before. Do you prefer in the author world to be called VL, Victoria, Holt? What's your preference?
I mean, I guess, professionally, just call me Vicky or Victoria. Don't call me late for dinner. That's it.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Okay. Well, so what's really exciting is I read her 97, loved it, got to read her 98, and then she has a 99, which is the full series, right? That brings it's going to be a three trilogy. And
just parts.
Okay, wonderful. And in the meantime, you're working on another project that you just got some feedback from your beta readers. Is that correct?
Yeah. I was invited by a group of authors to join them in a bundle where everyone is writing it's not little, everyone is writing a novel in the new adult genre of romance. And my deadline is creeping up. It needs to be available August. So I've been madly trying to finish edits and revisions this week. But I sent it out to several beta readers. This is really the first time that I've branched out to so many people to do a beta read for me. I probably broke some rules. I don't know if there's any rules about how many beta readers you're supposed to have. But I sent it to like 7 or 8 people. And it was really funny because, as you would expect, family members wrote back and said, "Oh, I loved it. Don't change a thing." And that's wonderful. It makes me feel good as a writer. And then one of the feedback comments were a little bit, I don't know what the nice word is. It was a little rough. But then I balanced the rough comments, so the delivery was maybe even a little bit unkind. Tried to balance those out with someone else who sent similar feedback. They were saying the same things, but in a more kind way. And ironically, it's the severe criticisms that are carrying the most weight as I go through my revision process.
Wonderful, thank you. And I have a question here. We've got 2 writers that are looking to write some science fiction, and they want to know how you create a new world with alien characters.
Okay, so world building is a very unique experience, and in every genre you have a little bit of world building, but it's going to be more difficult with the sci-fi genre. I read, let me refer you to a really good book by Orson Scott Card. I think the title is just Writing Science Fiction and Fantasy by Orson Scott Card. He talks a little bit about world building. You have to be cautious not to use our contemporary surroundings to compare the things that you're creating in your new world. Because, for example, if your sci-fi is taking place on another planet and these aliens have actually never been to Earth, it's not helpful for you to use earthbound items, people, cultures to try and explain what's going on in your alien world that you have that you are creating. You might want to sit down and kind of outline. I'm going to refer you to another a really good book. This is actually Exigency by Michael Seamson. It's a science fiction novel in its own right, but he does an amazing job of creating an organic beginning to his world, meaning he started with the amoebas. Now, he didn't describe the process in his novel, but in his own time, he created this evolution of like three main species on this alien world, and he had figured out how everything was intertwined. You know, the ocean life and the plant life and the habitats, and he actually mapped out for himself how all of these creations were symbiotic.
So, Victoria, I'm going to pause you for just a moment just to let you know what the comments are that are coming in. We have the book stalker here, which is exciting, and so she did a nice summary. Thank you very much for that. We've got lots of hearts. These hearts have been awesome. Thank you so much. And then Alexar said that it requires skill of thinking outside of the box, which is an excellent point. And then TM Shine says that true creativity is required, and I think that sums up a really nice angle of it takes a lot of work to create that world. And have you found that with yours? One of the things I love about her books is nice, Alexar. So just to finish my thought, I really love her antagonist, the world that she's created with these warlocks. So Alexar posted the question if authors reveal their behind the scenes just like filmmakers do. So the behind the scenes of where your ideas come from. Did I get that right, Alexar? Hopefully. So do you reveal your behind the scenes? Do you reveal kind of your inspiration and where your stories come from?
I love talking about my books. So if we were sitting over a cup of tea and some Vegemite crackers, I would love to talk about my books. The whole process is fascinating to me. I'm a very, I think, imaginative person. I was that way as a child, spent a lot of lonely time reading books or drawing or thinking or playing outside, and it just kind of, that's just who I am as a person, is this wild imagination. And so creating, for example, Tara likes my villains. These men, there are 5 men, and their names all begin with a Z. I have Zainel and Zoroastrid and Cyric and Zeko, and of course I'm gonna space on the other one, Zimini. Just the whole idea, like what motivates people, and in the case of these villains, what motivates them? Well, world domination, of course, but I have written notes to myself all over my house. My family is under strict orders. If you ever find the specific piece of paper with mommy's handwriting on it, do not throw it away, because as I get ideas, I will jot them down, and then I refer to my papers as I'm writing. I don't know what other kind of details you would want from backstory, but
TM Shine just shared that story development is fascinating, which it really is, and it takes a true art and creativity. I want to just, one question that I have for you, and then I'd love to let anyone else who has some questions to feel free to post them, and I'll try and capture them so that we can share them with Victoria after. But my big question that I have for you is, do you have any advice for those who are on the scope who have actively stepped outside of their comfort zone? They've written their pieces, they've shared them, and TM Shine, I know you're on this scope, and I'm curious if you already received feedback from your beta readers, and what I'd like from you, Victoria, is any tips or advice you can give for these writers who are in this tender stage, kind of that raw stage where they've shared stuff, how to proceed and how to both emotionally and professionally work through that feedback.
Okay, that is a great question, and I'm so glad that you brought up the emotional aspect of it, because it is emotional. Our books are our babies. When I first got my print, my hard copy print of my first book, I literally carried it around my house the first day. So our books are our babies, and when we hand our babies out and give them to people, what do you think of my baby? You expect people to be like, oh, I love your baby, you did a good job. Very helpful. And you know, it's a story. If you are getting to the point where you are going to publish this piece of work, the reviews are kind of unending. So you will, once you get it out there, you're going to get this wonderful influx of reviews, and most books generally are top heavy with positive reviews, but you are going to get more and more reviews, and people like to rip things apart sometimes. You also have your serious readers who are going to pick things apart. So keeping that in mind, the future of your work of art, it's okay when someone comes back and says, you actually are misusing commas. You're putting commas in all the wrong places. Or it might be something like, I understand that your character is a really bubbly person, but you have too many exclamation points. So as you're getting this feedback, part of you might be like, oh, but I like all my exclamation points. When you get kind of some harsh criticism, I recommend crawling under your basement steps with a candy bar and crying with a box of tissues. And then after that, let it sit for a few days and then go back and read it again, and remember that they're not criticizing you as a person. They are trying to help you make an even better version of what you have created. So in the case of the exclamation points, my current work in progress, my sweet new adult romance, I went and used that little find feature and found 444 exclamation points. That's too many exclamation points. So I've been whittling it down. I think I have it down to 125. I'm probably going to go back and weed out some more exclamation points. But it's hard to take that criticism. It hurts a little bit, especially if the delivery is not maybe as nice as maybe your mom or your grandma would tell you. But sit on it, think about it. You may find that the criticisms in the front end of your process are going to be really valuable, so that after you get your baby out there into the world, you've launched it, you've published it, the reviews are going to be more positive because they will have less things to criticize because you fixed them.
Thank you. That was awesome. And thank you for the hashtag comma cops. And Alexar asked, what's exclamation point? TM Shine, would you be willing to just throw one up there? And she says, I love the grammar syntax. Wonderful. Thank you. And perfect. Those right there, Alexar, are exclamation points, and you don't want to overdo them. And then the book stalker says, think about feedback as criticism can be valuable in getting your book baby out there, which is a wonderful summary of what you've shared. We probably have about 2-3 more minutes, and then we're going to be wrapping this up. So any questions, comments, concerns, highlights? Yes, we've got a question from Alexar. And thank you everyone for the hearts. There's been lots of great hearts supporting what you've been saying. So. Okay, so while Alexar is typing that up, I just wanted to share the joy in those of you who have completed this challenge to this point, and we're almost done. We just got 2 more days left to wrap it up.
Good for you.
And so Alexar has a question, but TM Shine beat him to it, and the question is, what is your writing process? So we've kind of went through, and I should have shared with you ahead of time, Victoria, so you kind of knew, but we have 10 days that we're completing a short story, and we've run through this process that we've been going through. But what is your process in writing a story?
Without having an outside force to be accountable to, I have to create my own deadlines. I have an idea for my story. I generally know where I'm going. I have a point Z, right? And so I'm what you call a pantser, which means I write by the seat of my pants. Some people are really organized and they have a spreadsheet and an outline. That's not me. I mentioned my notes laying around my house. I sit down and I start writing, and I try to get from point A to point Z. over the course of weeks and weeks, as I am writing a story, ideas will come to me just through my daily life. For example, in my current work of progress, the main problem going on, my heroine runs a bed and breakfast and her oven breaks down. That actually came from real life. My own oven, the door won't stay shut, and so I've had to use packing tape to shut my oven. My husband invented this stopgap where he used a mop and a bag of potatoes and levered it against the door. So I actually used those elements in my story, and it made it kind of funny and cute. Plus, I knew what it looked like because it was in my kitchen.
They're echoing the funny, by the way. That is very funny. And T.M. Shine mentions the snowflake method, which I'm not familiar with. So I'd love for you, T.M. Shine, to do a scope on that. I'm very curious. Have you, Victoria, heard of the snowflake
I don't know
method?
this, no.
Okay, well, so there you go, T.M. Shine. I don't know if you're comfortable with that, but please share with us the snowflake method. That would be fascinating. And Alexar has a fabulous question. I jotted it down really fast. Hopefully I got it correctly. But he asked, how does the label of writer influence you creatively? And I think that's a fascinating question. So you have that label. You're now viewed as a writer. And how does that influence your interaction with others, with the world as a creative?
There is I wish I had the author's name to give credit to, but this author said, nothing bad happens to writers. It's all material. And that little quote has actually been really helpful to me just in my personal life. I remember lying in an MRI once while the big machine is rotating around my head and thinking, no matter the outcome, nothing bad happens to writers. It's all material. So just the idea, that really is part of my identity. When I'm walking around in public places and observing people, there's always that thought in the back of my head, that could show up in a book later. So you should be nice to writers.
Thank you. And I love when I meet interesting people that get on other people's nerves. To me, I'm like, no, they're perfect characters for a book. I just love listening to these people because they're so out there that they'd be wonderful to help hone into a character. So thank you so much. Any final thoughts? Oh, and thank you, Bookstalker, for the summaries. She says, be nice to writers. These are great. She's capturing your key points that you've shared. So this is wonderful. Anything else that you'd like to share?
Final thoughts. So you mentioned you have people who've been working on a 10-day short story process. Good for you. Keep writing. You'll find that your writing is an extension of who you are as a person. And I love to say that your posterity will appreciate you. Even if your books never sell more than 100, you will have children and grandchildren, extended family, and friends who will always be able to remember you because of your written word.
Perfect. Those are great parting thoughts, and they are sharing the hearts, they're sharing the love, and we've definitely felt that. And then, Alexar asked this question, and I'm not sure I can answer this. He says, finally, off-topic question, is Hank Moody a real writer? Are you familiar with Hank Moody?
Never heard the name.
Me neither.
Sorry.
So, and we're in an era now that there are so many writers. It used to be you could name drop and people would be like, oh yeah, I recognize that name. But it's not like that anymore. We are just inundated with so many writers because of the ability for all of us to share. And then TM Shine shares advancedfunctionwriting.com for the resource to look up the snowflake method. So it sounds like both of us will be checking that out. Wonderful. He's from Californication TV series. Sorry, Alexar, this shows our limitation of what we are familiar with, but we will check it out and then give you our opinion. Anyway, thank you so much, Victoria. We're going to go ahead and say goodbye. And then for those of you who are still on this from you, if you enjoyed this and if you would like to have another opportunity to hear from other authors. Tomorrow I'm going to be at an event with the Bookstalker, and I get to be with Allie Cross, who I'm really looking forward to. She is a super talented author, and I'd love to share with you guys some of the things at that event. So fabulous, Alexar, appreciate you coming. So those of you who want to participate, I'm not entirely sure what time it'll be, but I'll send out a Twitter and it'll be in the evening. Oh, excellent interview. Thank you so much. I will share that with Victoria. And we appreciate you guys being here. Thanks so much. Thank you, Victoria. Bye-bye.
Thank you.